I'm fully prepared with everything I need for the Jay-Z documentary. The moment he sent that legal letter, I knew I had to let the world see who he really is. He and Diddy are cut from the same cloth. He just hides his arrogance and control behind a cleaner image. Our feud has lasted 20 years, and I know better than anyone what he's done in the shadows. I even suspect that so-called funeral bouquet wasn't Diddy's idea at all, but Jay-Z acting on his behalf. Back when Nicki Minaj posted that video of him wearing a pink wig, all I did was repost it, and he got so nervous he had his lawyers threaten me. In 2015, Nicki worked her ass off helping him build his platform, and he allegedly pocketed her $7.9 million in royalties. And then there's his fingerprints all over key incidents through the years, whether it's the elevator footage or the guest list at Diddy's parties. He was involved, clearly, but somehow he always walks away untouched. That's what he's best at, pulling strings behind the scenes while pretending to be spotless in public. And now that a corner of the darkness has been ripped open, I'm not stopping. Everything my team and I are doing isn't about attacking anyone. It's about making sure the truth can't be buried by him.
He ain't answering the phone? He ain't answering the motherfucking phone.
Right.
We had a black billionaire's lunch.
Black excellence, they're sitting there like, yeah. It's the billionaire brunch.
Oh,
Like,
I hate you, man.
And we here together, and we gonna keep staying together. We getting tighter.
unaware of anything going on here. This is the one time I'm gonna be with you this year. Yo, I feel like I'm normal again. Get me out of here.
Jay-Z isn't moving calm anymore. He's moving careful after 50 Cent allegedly let slip what Jay's private back and forth with Diddy really looked like, and that's a nightmare scenario.
Sean Carter aided and abetted or was directly involved. It's about to get real tense, and there's a lot of girls and boys who are still trapped inside the.
For years, Jay's name has hovered way too close to Diddy's mess. Tied up in rumors, side-eyes, and quiet civil claims, and now all that buried dirt is getting real daylight. 50 has been loud about one thing for a long time. He never wanted inside Diddy's circle. He said certain invitations felt wrong from jump, like situations that didn't sit right in his spirit, so he kept his distance. That choice is why he's talking now with zero hesitation.
Explained that Jay-Z is worse than Diddy. She explained how Jay-Z has done worse things than what Diddy did to Cassie to other females. And she said that she has the scars to prove it. She alleged that at one time Jay-Z attacked her and got it on film like Diddy did. And she alleged that this is why Jay-Z is totally pulling away from Diddy and you don't see him around. And it's been alleged for quite a while that Jay-Z is pulling away from Diddy because he doesn't want himself caught in the crossfire. I mean, you even have 50 Cent at this point talking about how Jay-Z is in hiding while this whole Diddy thing blows over. And you even have these accusations of Jay-Z being responsible for what happened to Cassie White. So I'm going to go ahead and roll you guys this clip of everything that Jag had to say about Jay-Z being worse than Diddy. And you guys let me know what you guys think about all this in the comments.
When the allegations finally hit the headlines, 50 said he learned about them just like everyone else through the news, and none of it surprised him one bit. As pressure mounted, the spotlight slowly crept toward Jay-Z, and people started asking questions he couldn't dodge forever. Why stay silent when everything is blowing up? That quiet didn't look strategic, it looked defensive.
Sean Carter is just as bad as the diddler. And I know that for a fact. I got the scars to prove it. You want to know what a box cutter feels like going into your skin and ripping you? I can tell you how it feels. Y'all ain't seen shit yet. That Cassie shit, that's nothing. I'm saying Sean Carter remembers everything he did to me and he's got it on tape. Just like Diddy. And they're gonna be crazy. It's gonna be the women that get them in the end.
Some insiders believe Jay's camp already knew his name had surfaced in civil matters and decided the best move was to freeze and wait it out. But here's the problem. Reputation doesn't need charges to take damage.
What Jay-Z's accuser is saying, that even though she dropped the lawsuit, she still stands by what she says, and she only dropped it because of harassment and the fact that she's terrified of Jay-Z. She says that Jay-Z is allegedly bullying her into saying that her accusations were false. In fact, in new legal documents, she is claiming that she was recently approached outside of her home and cornered by two people who told her they were investigators working for one of Jay-Z's lawyers. She claims they tried to get her to sign an affidavit stating that her claims against Jay-Z were false, but she refused. Jane Doe also claims the alleged investigators asked her if her attorney, Tony Busby, sought her out as a client and offered her money to pursue false claims against Jay-Z, two allegations she says she denied. He says this alleged confrontation left her intimidated and terrified, wondering how they found her when her identity had remained anonymous in media reports and legal proceedings. He also claims that her parents were approached by two investigators asking similar questions about Busby and her story. In the new documents, she reveals she decided to drop the claim because she was frightened by the reaction from Jay-Z and his supporters. She says she feared she would be publicly outed and subjected.
Social media ran wild with talk of voices being muted and stories getting buried. Industry sources warned that once investigations start circling, proximity alone can ruin legacies. And anyone standing too close when the floor drops is going down with it. That's exactly why so many people say 50's documentary actually matters. Because this isn't just about one man falling from grace. It cracks open how power really moved behind closed doors, who knew what, who stayed quiet, and who might get dragged in next.
Well, did he start snitching?
He better. But the only thing I'm interested in him talking about is everything he knows about Kathy Coriana White. See, I know you know what happened to Corey. Diddy? I know that. You and Jay-Z. Down in Vegas at Tao with Claudia. Why don't you just talk about Kathy? That might help. That might help a lot. Kathy Coriana White, Jay-Z's pregnant mistress, who died 24 hours after she announced that she was going public with their relationship and the baby. While he was married to Beyonce.
Now,
Was
Jack,
it an aneurysm, Diddy? Or are you the one who paid the same coroner that you... Oh, Diddy, you should talk.
Commentators started asking the real question. How did Diddy stay protected for decades? The common answer was influence, powerful connections, and tight control over information while rumors kept circling. As that pressure built, reports started floating that Diddy might be cooperating with authorities to soften his situation, and that's where things got ugly fast. One alleged angle had people stunned, the idea that Jay-Z's name could come up in any kind of deal. Whether true or not, that rumor alone sent shockwaves, because nobody expected Jay to even be mentioned in that conversation.
Diddy and Jay-Z. They was close enough that they wasn't playing basketball, they wasn't playing baseball, they wasn't playing football, and they wasn't playing hockey or soccer for Diddy to come on stage, pat him on his ass, and then make the statement to people in the world that can't nobody call me Sean but Jay-Z. Now, I don't know what kind of statement, and I can't say, I wish I could say half a homo, but I know I can't say it. But I don't know what kind of half a homo that is. And you trying to say that you're not close to somebody. You coming on stage, patting them on their ass, and then you making a broad statement to the public, can't nobody call me Sean but Sean Carter. And I heard Jay-Z said the same thing about them. But they were so close that they had matching white girls together. Because when they used to see each other, they used to say, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? He'd be like, yo, how your skinny white girl doing? So, I guess that's a certain type of closeness.
I ain't know anything about that, man. I ain't know about, Jay touching his, ass. I gotta go see the video. I ain't hear about that.
Come on, man. Everybody's seen that. 50 even pointed it out. Excuse me. When they was in ATL on stage. Remember when 50 bum rushed the stage with them?
Yeah, I think I recall that.
When Puff came on stage, first thing he did was pat Jay-Z on that. But I forgot. That's your favorite rapper.
Hey, him and Pac is 1A, 1B. But what's your issue with Jay, man? I didn't know you had an issue with him.
I'm never a fan of somebody that I was going to...
Now that the documentary is officially out, one thing is obvious. This isn't about the past anymore. It's about what comes next. Every new detail shines a harsher light on the people who stayed silent, and Jay-Z keeps ending up front and center. That spotlight hits harder because his history with Diddy goes way back, no matter how much anyone tries to downplay it.
Kids, these guys are, man, they'll cause situations and cause problems, and then they'll forget what they done because they on a whole nother atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that he did, you got to understand, like, now he'll say that they're kids because he's raising kids of his own. You understand? But how would you like it that if Blue Ivory, 15, 16 years old, 17, 18 years old, dating a nigga in his early 30s? You're not gonna go for that. No matter what she came through in Hollywood. But you gotta understand, guys who was around there, we didn't know Jay-Z them ages. We didn't know these cats' age. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't having no beards and nothing like that. They was wearing low cuts. You understand? Clean face. I would have never believed when Jay was coming around the block, scooping up the young girls and stuff like that he was 30 years old. If they 17, 18, 16 years old and they 22, you thinking they 22, 23, something like that, 24 years old? They mom and them need to check them. They daddy and them need to check them. But that's not that far off. But for somebody to be 30 years old in their 30s and they dealing with kids 16 years old, 17, 18 years, now that's a problem. That's an issue. And now he see that because he's raising kids. And he got a young daughter. I think he got another daughter that he didn't claim and now he claiming them. These cats was doing a whole lot of stuff that people in the industry won't speak on. And then now that you're speaking on it and it's becoming where is that you can get on YouTube and you could talk about this shit and say what you seen or say what you heard, you understand, or what you know. Some people look at it being a problem. But these cats ain't street cats. They entertainers.
Gene Deal especially didn't hold back. When Jay-Z's lawyer claimed Jay and Diddy were never really close, Gene flat out rejected that version of events. From his perspective, that story didn't line up at all. To Gene, that level of familiarity said everything that needed to be said. He pointed out that this wasn't casual industry overlap. This was comfort. At a show in Atlanta, Diddy walked out on stage with Jay-Z, and the interaction looked way too easy, way too familiar, like two people who had history and didn't need to explain it.
Odd to see him in that, getting looked at in that way by white people, like Jay does, yeah, like I hope that shit didn't happen, but I'm like, damn, they turned the world real, like people on a certain level have been fucking with him a certain way where he couldn't do no wrong for like 25 years straight. This is the first time he's not getting a pass with white media, like he can control black media because a lot of them either work or do business with him. But Drink Champs can't get him out of this one. And neither can Charlemagne. Because, those are the guys that hold him down no matter what he does anyway. So he got to get to People Magazine and Entertainment Tonight right now. Because they on his head. But the question is why? Like, why now? You know, because for me, I'd be like, yo, that's so ridiculous. Yo, take that to trial. She's not going to win. Let's get a deposition or something, you know? So I don't know why they on his head so much, pause. But I never seen him, you know, under this, you know, I never seen him in this position to have to explain himself. Pause.
How you feel about the statement he came out with?
I mean, I didn't hear him say anything. I heard a piece of, you know, like I said, for me, I like, you see, I'm doing an interview, so I talk. I thought it was long. For a statement, I thought it was long, pause. But, you know, I think right now, his silence is the worst thing for him. If he is innocent, he needs to let people ask him questions, and he needs to be able to say his side of the story, as opposed to...
That clip didn't die quietly either. 50 Cent later called it out publicly, and once he did, the footage kept circulating non-stop. When Gene was asked if he had a personal issue with Jay-Z, he shut that down fast. He said it was never about being a fan or a hater. Instead, he brought up an old moment where tensions were high, but Jay-Z didn't even remember it later. Gene said that's how people at the top move. They pass through situations, leave damage behind, and forget it ever happened because they're living in a completely different world.
And I don't think I would have said that he didn't know Puff at all or wasn't his friend. I thought that was a little extreme. I thought that was the wrong choice of words. I think that's going to trigger a lot of backlash. But the thing is, I never seen him get backlash at all. So that's what I'm saying. Now he getting backlash. Like, when did you know Jay-Z to be on his heels other than when he got beat up in the elevator? But that was nothing. But I've never seen him under the fire ever. Not in a long time. Not like, I've never seen people on his head like that, Paul. Ever.
Yeah, this might be my first time seeing people come at him like this.
Like I said, I didn't hear him say anything. Like, I'm not some white man speaking for another black man. Doesn't add up. It just doesn't work like that. Like, he doesn't know what to say on Jay's behalf. Jay would have to say that. So if he instructed him to say that, like, you don't even know if Jay told him to say that. He could have got off the stage and they was like, why'd you say that? He was like, I had to. You know, like, he probably said it because homeboy wouldn't. You know what I'm saying? So who knows? Like, I didn't hear him say anything. I haven't heard Jay say a word yet. Have you?
Nah, I haven't heard him say anything.
There it is. So y'all going by a piece of paper with words, don't get caught up in that. I have not heard him say one thing yet. You know? Until I see him speak, he hasn't spoke to me. That's why I said I don't think he did not say that. His lawyer said it. So what else is a lawyer gonna say?
Then Dame Dash stepped in, and his comments made things even louder. Jay-Z's former right-hand man spoke on the serious accusations swirling and said what shocked him most wasn't just the claims, but the reaction to them. Dame said he had never seen Jay-Z face this level of public pressure before. For decades, Jay looked untouchable, especially in mainstream media, but this time, that shield wasn't holding. Dame also blasted the move to completely distance Jay-Z from Diddy. He said claiming they were never close was extreme and sloppy, and warned that kind of wording only invites backlash. What hit Dame the hardest was this simple fact. This is the first time he can remember Jay-Z being pushed into a defensive stance instead of controlling the narrative.
Says to people, he goes into boardrooms and says to people, which I will never say, is he says, it's important for me to be a billionaire, you know, because black people need to be billionaires. And why does specifically he, at that time, I've had this conversation with white money people when they go, you know, it's important that Jay-Z becomes a billionaire. And I go, why? And they said, because he wants to open up a casino. You know, he wants to open up this, he should have an alcoholic brand. He needs to have a casino. He needs to have this. And you're like, why the fuck does anybody need a casino? Like another fucking casino
money
in this world.
And it makes it very possible for people to launder money all day.
Yeah. So like, why, even the fact that you want to become so powerful, then you're not saying because he needs to build schools for black people in black neighborhoods. It's because he wanted to build casinos for black people.
For them to keep wasting their money, and then for him to keep
Yes.
giving them overpriced merchandise. It's a rat trap.
Yeah.
All of it is. The sad part is that hip hop has now turned itself over to this greed machine and doesn't realize it's time to.
For most of his career, Jay-Z has never really had to explain himself, and Dame made it clear that era is over. This time, the pressure isn't fading after a headline or two, it's nonstop and coming from every direction. And that's where the real question pops up. Why does 50 Cent seem locked in on Jay-Z right now? The history with Diddy alone doesn't fully explain it. According to Tony Yayo, the tension between 50 and Jay-Z runs way deeper and goes back years, rooted in competition, loyalty, and how each of them moves in hip-hop.
Why does it all come to a head now? Why now? Why?
Because he's the acceptable monster at this time, like R. Kelly was the last time I sat on this couch.
So who's next?
Y'all don't see the lineup?
Yeah, we see the lineup. I'm just waiting to see who's next.
Jay-Z is setting Diddy up. Why is everyone having such a hard time? He ain't doing shit different. He lined up D-Haven, stole his life and identity. He lined up Big L, stole his life and identity. He lined up Dame Dash, stole his life, identity, and took his love. Lined up R. Kelly. He wants to be the one.
Yeah, shout out D-Haven. He actually hit us up, wanted to tell this story.
You need to talk to D-Haven.
Yeah, we need to talk to him.
I told you that last year when I put you on the phone with him.
Yayo said the culture has always been competitive. Egos clash, lines get crossed, and things can turn ugly fast. But Yayo also pointed out that sometimes people grow up and move forward. He referenced a recent show where 50 performed with Dr. Dre and Cameron popped up on stage. Years ago, that would have been impossible, but this moment showed growth, not fake peace. Cameron later said something that stuck, that Jay-Z loves business more than the culture. Yayo didn't argue with that take. He explained that Jay shows up heavy for corporate-style events and boardroom moves, but doesn't always show the same energy for hip-hop moments that matter to artists like 50. Yayo said the real difference between Jay-Z and 50 comes down to approachability, and that gap matters more than people admit. Jay-Z moves on a sky-high level, but he's distant, guarded, and rarely reachable. 50, on the other hand, is just as powerful, but he still shows up for people. He stays connected, remembers faces, and keeps ties alive. And Yayo said artists should never forget who helped build them in the first place. Then Yayo dropped the moment that stuck with him the hardest. He claimed Jay-Z didn't want 50 Cent anywhere near the Super Bowl halftime stage. According to what Yayo heard, Eminem had to draw a hard line and tell organizers he wouldn't perform unless 50 was included. To Yayo, that didn't feel like business, it felt personal. What made it worse is what execs later told Yayo behind closed doors. They said 50 did more for his people than many industry giants ever did for their own artists. And that kind of loyalty doesn't get erased easily. And while all this was happening, the relationship between Jay-Z and Diddy reportedly started cracking. People close to both camps said trust became shaky, and quiet fears grew about who would protect themselves first if everything ever went left. Jaguar Wright has even claimed that Jay-Z played a behind-the-scenes role in Diddy's downfall, though that remains an allegation, and that claim alone shook a lot of people. Whether true or not, it added a whole new layer to how this story is being viewed. Then Roger Bonds, Diddy's former head of security, stepped in with his own perspective from the inside. Roger said he did see Jay-Z and Diddy interact over the years, but he never believed they were truly tight. In fact, he admitted he once thought they were closer than they really were, until time exposed the difference. People on Diddy's team noticed something else too. Diddy showed up for Jay-Z far more than Jay-Z ever showed up for Diddy. According to Roger, that imbalance was obvious, and it mattered. From his point of view, they weren't bonded by loyalty. They were connected by money, access, and influence. And when things started going left, those connections weren't enough to hold it together. The cracks didn't just appear, they widened. Now the real question is whether those fractures are about to swallow everyone involved. What do you think is really happening here? Drop your thoughts in the comments, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share this with anyone who's been following this story. It helps more than you know.